Sumo, much like any other sport, has had its fair share of superstars. And even though Grand Sumo Wrestling sets itself apart as a sport that is practiced as both a religious ceremony and a display of Japan's precious history, the seriousness that comes with taking part of this important ritual still couldn't dampen the grandeur that naturally radiates from its biggest stars. And one cannot be bigger in sumo than becoming a yokozuna. This is the highest and most prestigious rank a sumo wrestler can achieve. It is almost guaranteed that every sumo wrestler who had enough grit to climb to the very top of one of the most difficult ranking systems in sports is an absolute headliner. Yet, ironically, the word headliner isn't the first word you'll associate with the 71st Yokozuna Kakuryu, the fourth Mongolian to receive sumo's pinnacle title. In fact, he had retired this year, but so unceremoniously, and unfortunately drowned out by, I guess, more attention-grabbing news like Yokozuna Terunofuji's comeback success and Yokozuna Hakuho's retirement.
And he's in good condition and looks forward to returning to the dojo. But that was not the case. He withdrew prior to day one. But the good news for him is that he received Japanese citizenship at the end of last year, so he will be able to continue in the sport he loves as an oyakata.
But Kakuryu was never one to draw attention to himself. There was an honest air to him. His conduct as a sumo wrestler could be a counter-argument to anyone who say Mongolian wrestlers behave unbecomingly for practitioners of such a sacred sport. He had always been mellow and quiet, collected, although that meant looking subdued compared to his other Mongolian Yokozuna contemporaries. Harumafuji had his show-stopping technical prowess, and Hakuho displayed absolute dominance in both his sumo and swag. Yet Kakuryu was always composed during bouts, in his victories and his losses. And if you look into his early career, it doesn't show that he was a sumo prodigy, unlike Yokozuna Asashoryu and Hakuho, who zoomed through sumo's bottom divisions lightning fast. Indeed, Kakuryu was different from the other Mongolian Yokozuna, coming from a family with zero martial arts background. Hakuho, Harumafuji, and Asashoryu all come from families who practiced Mongolian wrestling. As the son of a university professor, it was actually through sheer determination that he got to enter sumo in the first place, by asking his friend to translate a letter into Japanese that expressed his eagerness to practice sumo and then sending that to multiple stables, until a stable master was impressed by this act of dedication to their dreams and decided to give the skinny boy from Mongolia a chance. And I believe this story perfectly describes Kakuryu all throughout his career. He made it to the top because of his persistence and resolve. There are some people who have said he only made it to Yokozuna because of the lack of talent during his run at it. But was he really just lucky? I mean, he has 6 championships under his belt. He was also absolutely amazing in the tachi-ai. Kakuryu is so quick to find that optimal angle on his opponent during the initial clash that it is hard to find a wrestler nowadays who shares that same technical mastery. He also pulled the same Houdini escaped acts in close calls and was a great grappler like his Mongolian colleagues. But what stands out to me the most is how every time he gets interviewed after the championship ceremony, he expresses so genuinely his struggle of living up to the title of Yokozuna and his desire to work even harder to be able to meet the expectations that come with the title.
Ever since I became Yokozuna, this has been the goal. So I'm very happy that I've been able to achieve it.
However, Kakuryu suffered injuries all throughout his Yokozuna career, which is such a shame as we could have seen so much more from him. His injuries forced him to miss 5 consecutive grand tournaments until he ultimately retired due to their severity. It is quite unfortunate that these injuries dulled the true shine of his brilliance as a sumo star. At the time, when sumo wrestlers were dead set on establishing their brand of sumo that will have them be remembered, Kakuryu used the limelight instead to show his sincerity towards practicing sumo as a significant aspect of Japanese culture, and his earnest desire to be worthy of the title of Yokozuna. He wanted to show that not all foreign sumo wrestlers are bad boys or wild childs, at the cost of being unnoticed, ignored, doubted, and underrated.